The HOA doesn't like my project car, so I've decided to park it legally in front of the neighborhood's grand entrance. For context, my family and I recently moved into a rental house while our new house is being built. The rental is in the back of a gated community on a mostly undeveloped street. Yesterday, I received a letter from the Homeowners Association informing me that I'm not in compliance of the strictly enforced by towing restrictions, stating that vehicles may not be parked on the street overnight. In the letter was a picture of my project car, old BMW, parked beside our house on the street. I decided to look up the HOA's restrictions, which I haven't seen before since I'm a renter, and discovered I'm living in HOA hell. The street parking rule is just the beginning of a long list of restrictions, including one warranting a hefty fine for leaving the garage door open when not in use. This came as a huge surprise since several of my neighbors have parked their cars on the street without problem since I've lived here, so I assumed it was okay. I can only imagine that they've singled me out because my car is 30 years old. However, in my defense, it's very presentable and by no means junky. Being singled out made me incredibly frustrated to the point where I started doing legal research. It turns out my HOA has every right to tow my project car since it's parked on a private street in the neighborhood. The good news for me is that the street just outside of the neighborhood is public, and it's 100% legal to park on it for any amount of time. Unfortunately for the HOA, the closest section of public street to my rental house is right in front of their nice gated entrance. Ironically, my old BMW has now become part of their image, and there's nothing they can do about it until I move out in a few months. TLDR, my new HOA threatened to tow my project car. My compliance was to legally park it just outside of the neighborhood directly in front of the main gated entrance. Now to the comments. /r/duck HOA. Your classic BMW is too nice to grace their sign with man. I think it's worth investing $200 in a barely drivable hookta with different color doors missing windows, on 3 of those undersized, temporary tires/wheels, and 1 normal one. I'd get an old Golf out of the junkyard and DIY my own Harlequin. With spray paint. Really loud colored spray paint. This is an amazing idea. Need to make sure it's registered and tagged so it doesn't get towed by the city/county though. HOA's your friendly neighborhood fascists. My mom was named president of our old HOA and she disbanded it LMAO. Friend of mine had a project car that was all Bondo and primer at the time. His HOA didn't care for it and sent a nasty gram all cars must be painted, so he bought a cheap can of White House paint and a roller, along with some tape for the windows and got to work. It looked a million times worse after that. But he was now within the rules. The best party of the story, he painted it right in the parking lot. Hey Duckers, you said painted. You didn't say professionally. Proceeds to shoot car with a couple of 100 paintballs. This made me giggle. Thanks, I needed that. Would love to see a photo with the car parked. I'm just here for the car. Yeah, I'm thinking E30. Maybe E34/E28. HOAs are one of those ideas that I feel was a really good one when they first got started, then they were perverted and twisted into the ridiculous hell they are now. I hope they don't try to make a workaround or amend the rules and keep giving you hell. They were started to get around the Fair Housing Act, so no. Please explain more about this, I am sincerely curious. Might want to get a sunblock windshield thing that says parked here by order of the HOA. Parked here by request of the HOA. Makes it sound even more like they did it on purpose. Nah, you don't want to make it sound like they gave you an option. Unrelated, but what model? I've owned 10 plus old BMWs and have a major soft spot for them. OP replied. It's an 88 325 IS, one hell of a car, and it's a shame I don't have garage space for her. HOAs, the embodiment of petty power tripping. That would be condo boards. Oh man, yeah. I took a peek at a "What Your HOA's Doing" announcement near our condo elevator once, looking into DNA testing of pet waste and requiring all pets to be tested for record, or something like that. I just shook my head at whichever power tripping dingy put that up. I felt second-hand dumb just reading it. Fix the front gate? Nah, let's go CSI on some puppies. Love HOA revenge stories. Wish there was a sub for it. If you're serious, r/duck HOA may have some. I don't live in a house with a HOA, but I've had some really witchy neighbors who imagine that we have one and they police me. Boggles my mind. If people want to be witchy and imaginary bosses of what is think is right, they'll make your life miserable. My expensive, professional landscaping is designed for wildlife. Theirs is manicured and toxic with fertilizers and pesticides. They hate it and tell me about it. I guess that's my malicious compliance. I ignore them and stay. Even if she has no authority, you should report her to the Fair Housing Board for your state/community. They love ripping people's heads off over discriminatory bullshit like that. I'd have also just started reporting the other cars. No need to be a dick to your neighbors just to prove a point. Unless they're part of HOA leadership. Then get them all towed. I totally get the point of an HOA, and I think people should have the choice to be in one if they wish. I also think they can be pure hell. I very much wish there was some de facto standard way to rate specific HOAs so that if there are evil neighbors or evil HOAs that they can just as easily decrease the property value as an HOA can increase it. The trouble is, how horrible or chill an HOA is can change depending on who is on the board, so that makes it hard to have a tidy standard for rating. Yes, they also tend to be used as a weapon by people in the neighborhood, so one crabby neighbor moving out can make all of the difference. An algorithm which made ratings less impactful as they age, like a credit score, would be helpful. Hopefully a Google Street View car comes by soon to snap an update of the entrance to the gated neighborhood, with your project car front and center, smile. Don't park there. Okay. How's about here suit? Yeah. Just so you know. Some states have laws regarding moving your car every 2 days when street parking. Check on that so they don't screw you. 30-year-old BMW. Late model E30? E24? Don't leave us BMW nerds in suspense. OP replied. She's an early model 88 325 IS. I was going to say come hang out at /r/BMW, we always want more pictures of E30s. Be careful. If the vehicle doesn't move for a certain period of time, it could be suspected to be an abandoned vehicle and towed by the city. Look up your local laws for public street parking to make sure. I've lived in a complex with an HOA for over 15 years now and it's been fine, but I don't really care too much about things like what color my front door is, and I like having the external maintenance be someone else's problem. An HOA populated and run by jackasses will be horrible, but the same can be said of any organization, business, union, school, government bureau, nonprofit charity, you name it. Humans can turn anything into an arena for primate dominance games. We're clever little monkeys that way. My HOA is the exact opposite of the overbearing one, to the extreme that shit they should deal with is no big deal to them.